In 2024, my company, Scaling with Systems, hit 25 million in total revenue. And although I'm proud at how far we've come, it was only in the last 12 months that I learned something that if I had known it sooner, I would have hit 25 million way faster. You see, for years, I was stuck in the same cycle. Every time I started to see just a little bit of success, something would happen and it would force me to change my offer or my messaging and even my entire business model. In essence, I'd have to start from zero every single time. It first happened to me around 2018, where I was making about $10,000 a month selling 100 leads a month to real estate agents. And although it was going well, something happened and I could never break past that $10,000 a month mark. So what did I do next? Well, I adjusted my offer and I started offering, instead of leads, qualified pre-vetted booked calls on these real estate agents' calendar. Now, this was something totally different at the time. Nobody was offering this. And because of that, we went from around $10,000 a month to around $100,000 a month. And this was really good. This was some of the most incredible months of my life because I had never even seen this amount of money before. And here I was making it month over month over month. But then, you guessed it, something had happened and it actually forced me to get out of the real estate market in general. So what happened at that time was some of my friends were asking me, hey, Ravi, how did you start making $100,000 a month in your advertising agency? And I told them it was from a few different things, but mostly it was because of these virtual assistants that I hired that I was able to delegate a lot of the work out to. And so my friends asked me, hey, could you maybe give me one of these virtual assistants? I started training these virtual assistants, placing them for some of my friends, which would eventually become my clients. And thus my company Scaling with Systems was born. And this worked very well. Nobody was offering fully trained and placed employees for a business, at least in my industry. And so this took us from around $100,000 a month to around $500,000 a month. But you guessed it, something happened again. And so at this point, I am exhausted. I have changed my offer so many times. And so we started offering 100% money back guarantee results for our clients. And this is a little bit of a tricky situation to be in because you know that you want to bring your clients results, but you also know that there are some things that are totally out of your control. And so we started offering money back guarantee. Then we started offering, we'll write you a check on top of it. And we started to get in this somewhat downward spiral, pivoting our offer every 6 or 12 months just to try to keep up with the marketplace. And I kept on thinking, it was just bad luck. Oh, this is just how business is. Or I needed to find the perfect offer. Let me just guarantee more, give more money away, offer my clients more, until I actually discovered what was really going on. You see, I started to notice a pattern. Every time we'd hit a certain level of success, it would attract attention. Other people would see what we were doing and naturally they would want a piece of the pie. So first, 1 or 2 competitors would pop up. But then a few more started showing up. Then suddenly it felt like everyone and their mother was offering the exact same thing that we were. And let me show you what actually was happening here. It had nothing to do with my offer or how many guarantees I told people I was going to do for them. It came down to something that I call the crowded market dilemma. You see, on the left-hand side of this graph, you have success. So this is however you define success. This could be how much time freedom you have, how much money you're making, the impact you're having, how many people you reach, you name it. On the bottom, you have time. So this is how much time has passed since the beginning when you launched your business. This gold bar here, you're going to see is your business. And you can see here that in the very beginning, you probably started to see some decent success in your business. Maybe you modeled what somebody else was doing. You obviously got into it because you didn't think it was that competitive and you saw a huge opportunity. So you start making money, you start seeing success, you start helping a lot of people, and things are going really well. Maybe the first 6 months, the first 12 months, if you're lucky, the first 2 years, you're printing money. Everything's going fantastic. But then all of a sudden things start to slow. You have your first month where you break even, maybe your first month where you lose a little bit of money, and then you start to hit this downward curve, as you can see right here. So what's happening? What's going on? Why did this randomly start happening? Well, it's because of this blue line here, which represents your market competition. You see in the very beginning, as soon as you start to see success, other people take notice. Maybe your clients, maybe your friends, maybe other people that see your ads online. And they start to slowly go through and model what you're doing. And they start copying it. They see what's working. They maybe maybe even make it a little bit better. And at some point, you actually have so much competition that price becomes the main differentiating factor at this point. And you start to hear more objections. People start shopping around and comparing your offer to others. Growth plateaus as your profit margins shrink. And so you either stay the same and you say, okay, well, this is just how it is. I'm just going to have to make this money for the rest of my life, even though you start to see less and less take home because your profit margin's shrinking. Or you say, oh, we got to launch a new offer. We got to do something totally different. Or let's take the same offer and let's go over to a new industry. But you're unaware that the same cycle will repeat itself in the new market too. And maybe you're telling me right now, Ravi, look, that's okay, that's cool, but I don't have to worry about this because I just launched this brand new offer and nobody can copy it. It's so unique, it's so difficult to copy that I'm going to have this same market share for the rest of my life, right? But the truth is that this is going to happen in every single industry that you're in. And if you don't believe me, you guys probably know what SpaceX is, right? So Elon Musk's company, it takes you to space. That was one of the first companies to offer you in a commercial venture to take you to space. But if you go and type in Google right now, trip to space, there is now pages of different companies that actually will take you to space. And so if you have literal rocket scientists being copied and creating new companies based off what they saw was working, do you honestly and truly think that your offer is so unique that nobody can copy it? So there's only one way to escape it. And this is after I've learned it, after having to pivot so many times, after working with thousands of businesses, and now having done this and now making over $25 million in sales. And that is through what I call the crowded market solution. So as you can see, it's the same graph here, but the lines look a little bit different. So you can actually see instead of your business starting to curve downward, you see exponential growth right here, up and to the right. And you keep a solid line of distance between you and your competition. So although your competition is going to be growing because you absolutely can't stop the fact that there's going to be more competitors in the marketplace, but what you can do is you can separate your competitors using your brand. Your brand is going to be the most powerful thing that you can do in order to separate yourself from your competitors and no longer hear price shopping, no longer hear objections, and start to really see the growth, consistent, profitable growth, month over month, year over year that you know that you deserve. So your brand becomes a moat. It feeds off competition and secures your position as the leader of the marketplace. It is the one thing that your competitors can't copy. Nobody can be Ravi Abuvala. Nobody can replicate your unique combination of experiences, knowledge, personality, and expertise. Content lets you showcase this and builds a brand that stands out. Even the most basic product or service in the most saturated market can scale to over $100 million a year with a powerful brand. Once again, maybe you don't believe me. Well, do you know these three people here? Kylie Jenner, Conor McGregor, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Well, quite frankly, they all sell a product that, in my opinion, is really not that fantastic. It's not that unique. Kylie Jenner with her makeup, and then you have Conor McGregor with his whiskey, and The Rock Johnson with his tequila. Other than the makeup, I've tried all the other ones, and I can tell you that there's nothing special about it. Actually, I think that it doesn't taste that good. Yet, each one of these people here built that company, and within just a few short years, has a multiple nine-figure valuation on it. So how could they do that? How could they enter in to the most competitive and saturated marketplaces there are, beauty and liquor? How could they do that and be able to explode past all these other entrenched companies that have been there for years? Well, that's your personal brand. So don't ever let me hear you say, oh, Ravi, I don't have the time, or it just isn't that important. I got to focus on this other thing right now. Because it is arguably the most important thing you could ever do for your business, building a brand. And it's arguably the first thing you should start doing for your business. For those of you that watch my videos and maybe you're a little bit more on the beginner side and you're wondering, so how do I start from scratch? How do I go from zero to where I'm making 10 million a year, 20 million a year, 30 million a year? Well, I would actually argue that one of the first things you should do is start to build a brand. And if you don't believe me, at least believe Alex Ramosi here, who said, the longer I do business, the longer I believe in a single truth, brand is greater than everything. And we all know that you do have the time. So don't come at me and say that you don't. It's just about prioritization. And if there's one lesson that I've learned making over $25 million in the past few years, it's that you should always be building two businesses, the one of today and the one of tomorrow. If you never focus on your business of tomorrow, Well, then, my friends, you end up with a crowded market dilemma. If you tell yourself, I'm too busy, your head's down, you're focused, and you never start to build a brand, well, that's really good for the short term. But if you're not building that business tomorrow, then slowly over time, your growth slows, it stalls, and your profit margin starts to shrink as your competition takes over. So no matter what industry that I'm going to be in or whatever offer I'm running, no matter how unique I think that my offer is that nobody else can copy it, I will always work to build a brand, as it's the only way to build a business that not only survives, but thrives against any competition or any market conditions. And this works in absolutely any industry that you're in. Finally, having a business that serves me instead of me serving it. And in my experience, the absolute best way to build your brand this year is through YouTube. It's the second largest search engine of the world, owned by the largest search engine of the world. Your content builds your brand and generates leads, calls, and sales for years to come, unlike other platforms that disappears within a day or two. And just to show you the proof of this, here's a video I created over a year ago with 252,000 views that literally, as I was making this video, showed that we had a qualified booked call from it, from a video I made a year ago that took me 20 minutes. 90% of people making over $100,000 a year use YouTube daily. And you don't need to post weekly videos, be good on camera, use fancy editing, or have a huge following. So if you want to learn exactly how to leverage YouTube to build your brand, close more dream clients, and separate yourself from your competition, I'm proud to announce for the first time ever, we're opening our doors to what I call the YouTube lead machine. You can go in the description down below and get the exact system that we use to generate dozens of high-ticket clients a month from simple evergreen YouTube videos.